All right, no fancy camera tonight, just a bit of playing and sipping on a beer on a Saturday night. So, anyways, just ended up fixing my Schluter harp about 6-8 months ago. Something happened with it. I either had it in my pocket, or it got bumped up against something or dropped, and it developed a real bad clicking. Well, what I ended up doing, I'll just pry this harp back apart. Well, what happened when I pried it back apart, it loosened the crimp. Here a while back, I went ahead and crimped it in my machine in Elvis Presley, my little crimping press, and that took care of the problem. But after I readjusted the arms to the reed, it never sounded quite right. The tune, it was just off. Well, what happened is it was shrill. On my top side, I had a bigger gap, which wasn't even that big. It might have been, 2 slices of paper thick. And on the bottom, there was 1 slice of paper thickness as a gap in between there. And until I fixed it here, it took me maybe 5 minutes to true it back up. Moving it back and forth, I clamp it in a vise. And what I found is that it all depends on where you clamp it in the vise as what part of it moves. If I clamp up here in the vise and start pressing the arms, one pressing this way or one pressing that way or pulling away, it will just move basically the ends out and in. But if I want to move the whole arm, the whole part of the frame, I'll clamp it in the vise right about here and then pivot that in. That's what I had to end up doing, and it blew me away. I think it's louder than when I first bought it. I think when I went ahead and adjusted both gaps as best I could, and I'm pretty sure that this harp, it might be the loudest harp now I've got in my collection. Give it a listen. This is just on my iPhone 6, so it doesn't have an awesome mic, so it'll probably distort, but this thing, it is loud. Let's take a look at see if you can see in between the gaps. They are very, got them very, very tight. And this is just Saturday night, fooling about. And just having a wonderful time playing around with this harp. And it just blows me away how big of a difference, even small differences in between the gap. They can both be a little bit looser, they can both be a little bit tighter, but you can never have the reed offset or tighter on one side, looser on another. It creates a shrillness, and it just creates a harp that's not fun to play. So I'm glad I got this fixed, and I think I got these gaps tighter than they were before. I'm getting a little bit of clicking out of it when I go wild with the harp, but this harp is loud. Let's go ahead and compare it to the Masco Average, which was my loudest harp. The Schluter in E. I'm not quite sure which one is louder. They're both very loud now. But anyways, that's just Saturday night fooling about. What are y'all up to?